And now, coming to you straight from the 505's most news-biting source of political commentainment, it's the New Mexico Inquisition with Danger Cavaros.
Hey! Howdy. All right. Usually you guys clap longer for. All right. Yeah, we got a great show. We're in the season finale. You guys excited about this freak show finally coming to an end? I know I'm excited about that. We've done 12 episodes straight every single week. We haven't missed a beat. I just want to thank my writing team, Isiah, Yazzie, Ann Gora, Jason Green, Kendra Jean Brand. You guys have met every single week for 12 weeks. We've written jokes. I'm super, super proud of you guys. Thank you so much. I mean, it's hard to write jokes about Albuquerque and New Mexico in general. It's a sad state, a lot of sad things happening. We've got some funny stuff too. We could talk about some of that stuff. All right. We got our first ever Republican guest on the show. We got County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert on the show tonight. We also have two members of our writing team. As I mentioned, we have Isiah, Yazzie, and Ann Gora on the show. All right. But let's talk about the news a little bit first. Last week at a Smith's grocery store in Albuquerque, they caught a man trying to steal a box of cereal and a gallon of milk. That's right. The store employees tried to issue him a warning, but then he took things to the next level and started waving a pocket knife around at him. So he escaped out the store, but luckily authorities apprehended him. He was arrested and charged with cereal larceny. So. He did enter an interesting plea. He said he was a cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. So yep. The West Las Vegas schools are considering drug testing, mandatory drug testing for everyone on campus as a way to combat the opioid epidemic that's happening in this country right now. So everyone, superintendents, teachers, counselors, students, student athletes, the lunch ladies, the crossing guards, everyone. Well, I guess they don't have to do everyone. You don't really have to drug test the crossing guards, because anyone who's willing to volunteer their time to get up at the crack of dawn and hang out with kids, wave at every single car that drives by at 6 o'clock in the morning, they're on something. People are driving by. Alan Weber, the new mayor of Santa Fe, he campaigned, if you remember, on a platform of water conservation, but now it's been found out that his 5,000 square foot estate in Santa Fe is using upwards of 8 times the amount of water that the average Santa Fe single family home is using. 8 times the water. He blames the ancient irrigation system on his $1.5 million home. $1.5 million home. You got to explain yourself, Alan Weber. You got to either let the buskers and hobos who hang out at the plaza bathe on your lawn, or explain why you can't seem to afford the fix. And don't tell me you're afraid to go near the ditch because La Llorona or something. That's not going to buy it. You're too rich to be afraid of ghosts. That's for poor people. The state Supreme Court has recently ruled that all of the vetoes that Susana Martinez issued last year in the legislative session are getting thrown out, and that all those laws are actually going into effect. That's right, because she refused to enter an explanation. So the court said that it was not compliant with the Constitution or something. Lots of big words. I don't know. But two of the more interesting laws that are going to affect are a House bill and a Senate bill that now allow for the scientific research and study of industrial hemp, which is a totally groovy and psychedelic alternative to cotton. I was gonna veto the bill, but then I got high. I was gonna stick it to the legislature too, but then I got high. That joke makes no sense, and I know why. Why, man? Because industrial hemp is not the same thing as marijuana. It's just not. It's not the same thing. But we had to go for the easy joke because a cotton-based joke would have cost twice as much money and used twice the amount of water to produce. Twice the water, that's a lot of water. What am I, Mayor Alan Weber? I'm not made of water, man, come on. Hey, Susanna, if your veto hand kind of hurts from getting slammed on by that big, heavy Supreme Court gavel, it's okay, because you're not going to need to use it anymore. Her veto hand, she doesn't need it anymore. Okay. Good. What else is going on? We talked about some sad news. After a homeless man was found shot and murdered, Tim Keller, the mayor of Albuquerque, is reinitiating the Native American Homeless Task Force, which is an initiative originally started by the former mayor of Albuquerque, Richard Berry, in 2014 after a couple of homeless guys were found beaten to death. Very sad. At the risk of sounding hopelessly naive, maybe we don't need to wait to notice our homeless population until people are dead. I'm sorry, were you guys waiting for a punchline for that? Do I have to tell a joke to make you care about other people in this city? Okay. Well, let's get bright again. Let's get cheery again. A Four Corners area prison inmate who was on work detail escaped from custody, but then it's okay. He turned himself in to the authorities in Colorado. No, wait, no. Utah. No, wait, no, it was Arizona. Was it New Mexico? I can't remember. It doesn't matter because wherever he's standing now, whether it's Utah or Colorado or Arizona or New Mexico, he's back in jail. So it's okay. The American Pecan Council is trying to rebrand the pecan. That's exciting news. They created a new logo, made a new slogan. Here it is, American Pecans, the new original super nut. Gross! This is a family council, sirs. Now you may be wondering, almonds are like everywhere, and they're super trendy. Can they be a super nut too? To which the American Pecan Council responded, that's just plain nuts. We got a great show for you guys tonight. Stick around after these messages. Welcome back to the Mexican Inquisition. I am, of course, your host, Danger K. Varos. I am very excited for the end of the season. We finally get to take a month off, yes. Reflect on the horrible things that we've done. Yep. The terrible, horrible things. To my right is our head writer, our head comedy writer, New Mexico political analyst, Ann Gora is on the show tonight. And of course, our special guest, very excited to have County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert on the show. Thanks for coming on.
I'm here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you very much.
Glad to be here.
And of course, you may have noticed he's too cool for school. It's New Mexico political analyst Isiah. Yazzie is on the show tonight. How are you doing, Isiah? How was your week?
I'm doing well. I'm just blown away by how much you look like John Malkovich.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I've been John Malkovich before, so I think that fits right in.
That's interesting coming from a Lou Diamond Phillips lookalike, isn't it?
Right? La Bamba.
Very interesting.
I approve.
How about yourself, Ann? Anything interesting happen?
Nothing. Just keeping up with the blog.
I like the blog. I like the bear. If you guys haven't read the New Mexico Inquisition political blog that's on our Facebook page, it's got a lot of interesting safety tips on how to deal with bears this season. So get on there and check that out. Mr. Talbert, how are you? How was your week?
It was a good week. It was quiet. I mean, we have a new prince that comes on the news like every 3 minutes, waiting for the name, and I guess Louis or Louis or something like that. So a new prince, and we all now know his name, which waited 3 days to find out. So
Well, I mean,
that was great. I named my kid in 3 minutes, so I don't know why it takes 3 weeks or 3 days. But it took a while.
we sailed away from them for a reason.
Yeah, right? That we could name our kids in 3 minutes.
Kids in less than a couple of minutes.
Exactly.
We also put the color purple behind you for Prince.
Oh,
I don't know if you know that.
So,
all right. I did not see that.
A lot of our fans that got their start with us from the very beginning last year know that we we kind of focused a little hardcore on the county commission in the first few episodes.
I remember that.
We
Not me. Not me.
No,
I said not me. Not me.
It was good. You did a good job.
well, thank you very much.
You could time lapse me 5 hours into 3 minutes. It's amazing. I love it. I was watching it going, oh my God, I did that much in 5 hours. I did not realize. Thank you.
Well,
Made
I'm
me
glad that
smile.
you're a good sport about it. I was gonna say I'm so sorry.
No. It's all good. I did like the beginning of it though, where you said, where he was stuffing his face with snacks. Right? Now that part, that was good. But in that particular meeting, I cut off the snack, so I was only on my phone.
Right.
So I was only phoning, no snacking. The prior one that I was at for probably another 5 hours, I dated a lot of trail mix. I own that. Lots of trail mix. I was trying to.
You're like, don't let Weight Watchers see that video, right? You're like, they're gonna know I cheated.
That's so many
I
carbs.
was cheating all the time, man. There was no doubt during that meeting.
The
It
carbs
My whole
are
life's
true
a
outrage.
cheat.
was very hard.
Yeah, a lot of people would, specifically Contra Santolina, we would mingle with them at the meetings because they're always there, a big force, and they would be like, this is outrageous that some of these commissioners don't pay attention during public comment. But I was there listening to the public comment, and some people, they take it to extremes. Like there was one guy who used his entire 2 minutes to yell at you guys about Agent Orange.
He did.
And he was like, should be ashamed about Agent Orange in Vietnam. And you guys are totally being cool about it. So that's
I
fun.
try my best. I did, during that time period. But, after number 65 of public comment
I feel
got
you,
on
my
phone.
man.
I got on my phone. I own it. I was on, but I was not playing Candy Crush. I assure you. There was no Candy Crush. It was
No, that's
No,
not
it was
bad to
Trail
play
Mix
Candy
Crush.
Trail Mix Crush, exactly, and there was some of that. There's no doubt.
Yeah, I love the different personalities of the county commission. Maggie's always, she's always got notes out and she's reading things and looking and she's always very interesting. And then Stephen Kazada is always doing this smolder. He's like,
He's got that look, right?
he's got this, And then
the
Wayne
actor's
Johnson,
look.
he always had this interesting, just like he knew something that you didn't. He'd be like, he'd have this interesting thing.
And then you had Lonnie, who was
Then
doing
you have
this
Lonnie.
shit, right? Oh, sorry.
Let me do my best Lonnie Talbert.
Right? That's it. Yes! That was me. I'm like,
You were the first. I think you're the only person to curse on this show.
am I? I'm keeping it
12
real, Ann. I'm
episodes.
keeping it real.
12 episodes.
Keeping it real.
That's fun. That's awesome.
I am
Thumbs
not
up.
your average Republican, okay? Let's just be real.
I assume that since you are here. so I
Right,
assume that.
exactly.
This is fun.
Hey, shit happens.
There you go. I started a trend. I'm so sorry to all the producers.
It's all downhill
I'm
from
gonna have
here.
to edit all of
We
this
won't
out
be having
later.
another season.
Yeah, all because of Talbert. We'll never
No,
bring
all
him on.
because of this guy.
Gone. Can't
So,
You're not supposed to copy him. Now you're like a dog. You're just gonna start eating scraps
Too
around
cool
the
for
table.
school, and
You got to put the other ones on back on though, and then pull those off. That's what's cool. That was the.
for school, and
so let me hijacked my show.
With extreme prejudice.
You invited him.
We couldn't do this without Amina. What kind of As you've been on the county commission, what do you feel like you've done that has really made you proud to be on the county commission?
So honestly, Danger, the thing I like the most is when we take care of constituent issues. And that's really what most of the county commission is about, is you represent a district, you're a county commissioner who represents a district, and you know, the adage about they call you about everything, they do. And so my team has done an amazing job at addressing those things. I think also we've done an amazing job in economic development, really, with the IRB program. That is something where I think most of the county commissioners always come together pretty well to say, how can we invest in New Mexico and in New Mexico companies? So I'm very proud of that. I think those are the two things, at least in the first, I've got 2 more years left, but in these 6 years, I think we've done a very good job at it.
Are there any issues that you would like to take on that you think are really important that you would like to, even if you can't do so on the county commission?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Commissioner Casada. I mean, he and I are talking about some opportunities to really put a couple of resolutions out there related to common sense gun laws. And you know, my wife is a huge activist around this space, and I'm so proud of her. And she's brought me along, and I'm definitely there with her. And it's one of those things where I think in politics in general, we've lost the common sense. We've gone to extremes. And so there's nothing that needs to be extreme about gun laws. They need to be smart, and they need to stop the wrong people from getting guns. And the people, if they want guns, if they follow the laws, then they can have guns.
What specifically?
What would you like think of? What did you think of, you know, the Clinton, you know, assault rifle ban? Is
So,
that something you would
yeah.
like to kind of pick a little bit out of that?
So, Ann, I don't think anyone needs a machine gun. I mean, who needs a machine gun?
Yeah, I mean that.
I mean, so
really
everyone
what it-
wants to equate common sense gun law with the Second Amendment.
Yeah.
Though that is not at all what we're talking about. We are not talking about taking away anyone's rights. What we're saying is, you do not need an assault rifle to go hunting.
Exactly.
Okay? You do not need that. That is not necessary. Okay? You do not need an assault rifle to protect yourself against invasions from the afar, right? This is no longer an invadable country. So I'm sort of...
What if there's like a pack of deer
Right?
And they all
Wow.
have assault rifles.
Well, then
and you're like
where are you in Africa?
on the
Are you on a? Are you like on a?
No,
like one of those-
right down the street. You've never seen the pack of deer just walking downtown,
Smoking
No.
cigarettes on the corner.
smoking cigarettes. You never see those guys?
I don't. I may have bummed a couple cigarettes to some deers, but I don't like really pay attention because I don't know if they're underage. I can't.
Yeah. I got nothing
I mean,
for you
what's
on
the
that.
No,
best
is there?
I got nothing
I don't
for
know
you.
how we got to cigarettes.
So you
Yeah,
mentioned you and Stephen are working on this as county commissioners, and you feel like that something can be done from your position on the county commission.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the local ordinances and resolutions are in the ability to sort of state our position, right? Obviously, federal gun laws, state gun laws are managed at that level. But we can basically put positions into place and put resolutions in that say, hey, here is how we feel about what we should be doing around this particular topic and how we should be addressing it. But obviously, the laws need to change at the state level, and they need to change officially at the federal level. And we've been trying really hard at the state level to close the loophole for where unlicensed sellers can sell guns without background checks. And that's not what, we don't want that at all. If you're a licensed seller and you have a federal arms license, you have to do background checks. If you're an unlicensed seller, you can sell your gun on Craigslist, you can go to gun shows, and you don't need to do background checks, and that is just wrong. Everybody who wants a gun should have to have a background check.
All right, well, that's a place we can leave off for now. We're going to take a quick break and be right back with County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert, ladies and gentlemen.
I should be right there with them. Then.
Welcome back to the Mexican Inquisition. I'm Danger K. Varoz. We have special guest County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert on the show. Thanks again for coming on.
Glad to be here.
I mentioned we got our start covering county commission hearings. A lot of our fan base are these Contra Santolina people. They're all fired up about Santolina. And all I've ever heard is an opposing viewpoint. So, I mean, you voted for most of the tax incremental districts, the approvals at Plan A and B, all these different things. I was interested to hear your viewpoint on why it is good.
Yeah. So I've only been in New Mexico for the last 14 years. I moved here from Kansas City, and I'd lived all over the country. And many of the places that I've lived had planned communities. They had communities that had their own roads, their own parks, their own covenants, everything that was related to a planned development. And it worked very well. And most of the residents that lived there enjoyed that because they could go outside of their doors and in their neighborhood, leave their neighborhood, have sidewalks and have parks and all these things, shopping, everything within a contained sort of live, work, play kind of space. Most recently, I'll use Summerlin, Nevada as an example. And so when I think about a large landmass like Santolina, I think of if we're going to develop that, right, if someone's going to develop that, then let's do it the right way. And I think what I've seen in my time here in New Mexico is we have a lot of disparaging kind of zoning. And so you may be driving down the road and you may see this one type of house which looks one way, and right next door is a different kind of house. And that's fine, but there's no consistency in the zoning laws either. And so at least with Santolina, we have a plan that it can be consistent, it can be uniform, and what I believe is it'll be something that's really why I looked at that. And I know a lot of people are like, you're taking things away from someone, right? Well, the original Santolina property was owned by a group of landowners that chose to sell that at a point in time many, many years ago. And then the iterations that followed from people that bought it each time ultimately ended up with the group that bought it and turned it into what's now become the controversial Santolina development.
Controversial, yeah,
Yes,
that's right.
totally.
I haven't met anyone personally who's in support of it, except for Isiah, is pretty pumped.
I'm so down. No, listen first before you boo. Sangria's at Santolina.
Has a nice ring to it.
Sangria's at Santolina every Sunday.
Lots
You
of
don't
S's.
even have to come into Albuquerque.
Isiah, he's so excited about Santolina, he's been camping out there in a dirt patch in a tent for like...
And you're still waiting, aren't you?
Yep.
Yeah.
He's like, we got these tax incremental districts and these water rights, and I was like, but there's no
I was
sidewalks
like standing
yet.
out there. I was like, "Where's Santolina?"
He's so fun. I don't know if you remember, I came to the county commission a couple times and did public comment, oppositional. I was opposed to it. So I've spoken to Maggie Hart-Stebbins about it a lot on and off the camera for a show. Right. And it's really the thing that I think troubles a lot of the people who are against it are the TIDs, the tax incremental districts. Right. Why do you think Albuquerque, and I could be getting this wrong, but why is Albuquerque, the city, on the hook for, I mean, my understanding is there's no cap. It's upwards of $1 billion in TIDs over the next 50 years. So every sidewalk, every sewer system, every public structure that's built for Santolina, we would be reimbursing them for a percentage of the cost as an incentive to get them to build Santolina. Like Albuquerque really needs Santolina. Why do you think that is?
Yeah, well, I mean, I think the TIDs are something that's been used many times. Mesa del Sol, it's
Silver
been
Street
used-
Market
Silver
downtown.
Street Market, as an opportunity to entice development, right? I think that TIDs can always be, again, another opportunity where things are controversial around it. But I do also believe that as it relates to Santolina or any development project, I think everyone sort of thinks what it's going to be at the end, right? That, 90,000 people and all of this land that's going to be developed. And that's going to take 50 plus years.
Right.
So I'm not sure yet because I think there are 9 TID districts that are in the Santolina development area. I'm not sure yet that we fully understand exactly what that cost will be. And we talked during those meetings about being net neutral, right? Obviously, cost neutral, expense neutral. And that was a big topic of discussion. So the development agreements, level A, level B, and level C, are to have that kind of language in there so that at the end of the day, we don't have an expense to taxpayers who aren't specifically living in Santolina. I think that's the goal.
Do you
We're
think
still
that if there was
to be
really
seen.
a demand for something like Santolina, that maybe places like Mesa del Sol would have been more successful?
I think that, you can talk, and Mesa del Sol is a good example, right? I mean, it was built right before the crash, right before the crash of 2007, 2008. 2008 is when obviously the financial markets all plummeted, and so real estate, we went into the recession a little later than most of the states around us, but was all that was going on Mesa del Sol. So I think the timing of Mesa del Sol for what was expected was bad. I think the intent was good, and I think it has been purchased since in trying to redevelop. But I think we can learn lessons from Mesa del Sol for sure, and I think at least with Santolina, it is a long-term vision that at the end of the day, either the developer has the money to do it or doesn't. And if he doesn't, then it won't be built, regardless of how many TIDs are there, regardless of how many water rights are there.
If nobody actually goes there
Yeah,
and
if
buys
nobody
houses.
goes there, I can guarantee you there are no banks today lending speculatively anymore.
Right. And as far as I'm concerned, like I remember the Santolina website, which has since been taken down, used to boast this older geospatial population survey that kind of said, well, this is how many people moved to Albuquerque since the 50s. This is how many people will move here then. And since then, the UNM has changed their methods and showed that we are actually hemorrhaging people so fast that we're hardly keeping up with the birth rate, and we've only gained like 6,000 people in the last few years. And so if no one actually comes and moves and buys the houses, the water's safe, the land's safe, everything's fine.
Yeah, they're not knowing exactly what their plan is from the standpoint of wasting money. Most developers don't have money to waste in that regard and just go out and build a ghost town that no one will go to. Because I can tell you, financing today does not look at speculative. There has to be guaranteed residents, guaranteed businesses in order for any bank or any lender to look at that and want to invest in that.
Now, if Santolina is built, do you speculate that they will get more or less smack talking from Albuquerque than Rio Rancho?
Ann, I think that Santolina is going to be a topic of discussion for a long, long time. So I think, there's always a new story of the day, but I do think that if Brown or Wind
we
Ground
love a
is
good
broken,
rivalry here in the Burke.
Yeah.
We like to look at Rio Rancho and
Because
go,
people now, they're like,
"Man,
boo, Angelina. They're talking about like
Right.
the master plan and all these
Yeah.
things, but like in like 50 years, we could be like, boo, the people that live there.
Yeah.
They're buttheads.
Yeah, I'm coming back in 50 years.
We're gonna-
Probably
we're
not,
gonna
but
kick their
I'll
soccer
have my
team.
corpse dragged here. in
Like
50
I said
years
earlier.
and have it waved like.
If I
Sangria.
live at Santolina, no need to come to Albuquerque, right?
Well, I want to
You'll
thank
have
you.
everything in one place.
I want to thank County Commissioner Lonnie Talbert once again for coming on the show.
thanks.
I really appreciate it. You've been a great sport about
Thanks.
the whole show and everything. And again, I want one more shout out to my writing team, Jason Green and Kendra Jean Brand, Ann Gora and Isiah Yazzie for helping me put the show together. You guys are amazing. I want to thank our production manager, Sean Riley.
Woo!
Geronimo, the Azteca. We got Javi back in the booth. All right, we got RJ out in the booth. We got Adrian Hernandez.
We should have done like an SNL thing.
Thank you, Public Studios, for letting us put on season 2. It's
Thank
finally
you,
over.
New Mexico.
Season finale.
Mexico for watching.
New Mexico, yeah.